the most realistic steering system available on the market, look no further than Sim Steering from Leo Bodnar. Designed and hand-built at the home of British Motorsport's Silverstone circuit, it's extensively used by professional driver training centres and race teams including Formula 1 since 2010. The high precision and completely linear response coupled with high strength provides the ultimate in realistic steering force feedback. Visit simsteering.com.
Good afternoon and welcome to Apex Racing TV. Alex Simpson here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps for another round of the PitTalk GT Simulator Series. Well, we're at Spa Endurance, sun is out, beautiful conditions for racing, qualifying is underway. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Not what that driver was, not sure who that was actually. We'll catch back in with that. We've got about 5 minutes of qualifying left to go. I'll bring you some standings shortly. Just want to quickly have a look at the championship table as it stands. Last round out, Marcus Lenderman took the lead. We saw him, great consistency and speed there, and he finds himself 186 points. Charles Desir wasn't available that week. He missed that due to going to the Formula 1, which I don't think anyone can begrudge. So sitting there on 145 points. Tobias Cherney 140 points, Warren Pickering 140 points, Dongwoo Gang 127 points, so still all pretty close in and around that second spot, but Marcus definitely out front in the lead of the GT3 series. Lazardri in 6th, Fashak 7th, Harrison O'Brien in 8th, Alex Cherney in 9th. We know him and his brother have missed a couple of rounds as well, and Andre Martins had some good performance, only done 3 rounds and finds himself in 10th place, so really good start for him. Tim Jackson in 11th. Over to the Corvette class, Steve Bocade, been very consistent all season, finds himself leading the way from Marcus Wang, 247 points versus 212. Mark Lang not available for this race, finds himself, well, 122 points, so he actually joint third place with Shane Reynolds. Shane had some troubles in the cars and some dramas that he'll hope to forget and move on past from recent weeks. And then you've got Chandra Yong, who was actually showing great pace in qualifying, and I dare say perhaps could have had a slightly better run in a few of these rounds if it just weren't for some first lap woes that we've seen with the Corvettes. But yeah, just a small field, but there are a few more drivers in them this week, so be interesting to see how they get along. Over to the Nations Championship. Australia still leading the way, 626 points. My co-commentator isn't with me tonight to emphasise that point, but actually the Aussies are having a fantastic run, and most importantly they've got a driver in both cars that performing well. So 626 v Singapore's 480. Important for those guys to really start putting the hammer down now and close up. We're running out of rounds, almost halfway through the season now. Indonesia, Thailand and Philippines are in third place on 420. They moved up a spot, knocking Japan and the Euro division down. And Korea, previous winner of the Nations Series I might add, all the way down in 5th place with only 282 points. So really their big guns not coming out to play, it seems, in this season. Right, let's just take a quick look at qualifying. We've only got a few moments to go now. It's looking like, well, where have we got? We've got Jared Thistle back. We've seen him in the series before. He's set his time out there now already. He's not out on track either, so qualifying time 2 minutes 14.545. That's in the Corvette. That is lightning pace, 1.3 seconds ahead of Marcus Lenderman. So he's pulling the GT3 car up there ahead of the rest of the Corvettes. You've got Chandra Young 115.6, just behind Lenderman at the moment, but really 1.5 seconds behind Jared. So that's a long way. Also driving the Corvette this week with a 2 minutes 16.1. So even himself is 1.8 seconds behind Jared. So it's just that guy's got amazing pace out there. So he's going to be a runaway leader in this race. Marcus Wang again in the Corvette. So the Corvette's definitely very quick. 1.8 seconds behind with a 2 minutes 16.7. Then we have former championship leader Charles Cesare, returning back this week as Marcus just pulls off the track there. So Charles sitting on 7th in the grid, 2nd in class. He is 1 second behind Marcus Lenderman, so that's a huge gap. We know that you can get a lot of draft at this circuit, but I just don't think you're going to be able to keep up that sort of pace. Dongwoo Gang in the rough this week, 10th of a second back, followed by Maluna. Kurt Stenberg, another driver actually showing up. Seems like some of the Apex Racing TV V8 supercar drivers have come out to play this week. Also in the Corvette, but quite a way behind. Andre Martins had such a great first 3 races of the series, so let's see how he does. Kevin Huang, Tim Jackson, Yong Suk Kwang is in 14th place. Tobias Cherney way down in 15th. Speaking to Tobias early on, actually just on screen, and his brother there at the moment, just talking to them. There's a chance that the BMWs can do this in a one stop, I believe. Now we have seen him do this in the past, but according to the data, they can do this with fuel saving. They will be quite slow though, looking at what their projected lap times are. So let's keep an eye, see how that goes. Just seeing the final grid standings now as everybody pulls up. Session comes to a close, indeed confirming Jared takes the victory. Actually, no changes have happened as described. So yeah, Tobias in 15th place, Warren Picker in 16th, Alex Cherney in 17th, Lazardri in 18th, Mim Park, Woo Yun Kwon in 20th, Harrison O'Brien, Brett Wilson, Christopher Buffet, Timothy Ballinger, Mark Noble, Scott Goodman, Brenton O'Brien, DK Lee, Bernie Weemers, Adrian Jarvis, Paul Nelson. God, we haven't seen Paul for a long time. It's great to see him getting involved. Paijo all the way down in 32nd. Come on Paijo, let's see you get up there. We know you're definitely capable of it. And Dong Yoon Kim and Padawachi. Sorry, mate, I've just butchered your name there. So it rounds out the grid in 34th place. Well, I can only give my pick to be Jared for the Corvette class. 1.4 seconds. Sorry, no, 1.8 seconds ahead of his. No, sorry, 1.4 of his next rival. Lenderman way out there on the GT3 class as well. I have to say, he's got to be favourite, but we're going to have to watch this first lap. We know how bad these Corvettes are. Few new faces in there as well, perhaps used to a rolling start. We've got Eau Rouge, the first corner with this endurance layout. 25 laps to this Spa circuit, 7 kilometers, 21 turns, not much wind speed, all cloud cover, so the track will build up temperature quite quickly as the guys are getting ready for this. Third place driver Yong does not take to the grid, so places for everyone. We're underway here. Didn't see the lights come on, but everyone's streaming in. Oh, a little bit of contact. I think that's Kevin, isn't it? But fortunately the GT3s don't suffer too much, and we've got a spinner further back. I think that might be Alex Cherney, I'm not sure. It is indeed Cherney there. Massive damage. I'm not sure who he's taken with him, but it doesn't look good. Sorry, I'm just waiting for my cameras to reset so we can catch the rest of the action. It's all going crazily wrong here in the box. There we go. Right, just having a look at Warren Pickering under pressure from Lazardri here into corner with no names. Goes a little bit wide, and I think that's Tobias taking an opportunity to move himself up. He's way down at the moment. Must have lost some places through Eau Rouge there. Looks like we've got some smoke going off ahead of us. We've got Jared leading the way. Actually, Jake Burton making a great start. We've seen this in the V8 supercar as well. Jake on the money pretty quickly and gets himself past Marcus Lenderman there. Marcus already stretching his legs in his GT3. He's going to struggle to keep up with these Corvettes, I have to say, for over a prolonged race distance. Marcus Wang, he will start to close in on the young driver there as well. Kurt Stenberg. Great to see a lot of Corvettes surviving these first few corners. Dongwoo Gang next to the GT3s, good start for him. He's got a little bit of pressure from Andres Martin just behind him, and then Charles Tesser as well. So close battle between these guys in the championship. Let's keep an eye on how this is going to pan out. Young Suk Kwang there just putting a move on Lazardri. Lazardri seeming to go a little bit backwards. I said that, but he's actually made a move back on Tobias throughout that lap. We've got Mark Noble and Kimi Rule fencing Tim Jackson around in turn one, and actually caused a little bit of a collision. Is that Harrison O'Brien? It might be. No, it's not. It's Buffet. Yeah, Christopher Buffet there. He's retired back to the pits already. Turn one at Spa, always a bit of a problem area. Picked up a few drivers in that, but yeah, Jackson managed to survive, but I dare say he's got a little bit of damage on that car. The set quite close to Dongwoo Gang. He's going to want to get a good run. We'll have to keep an eye out. We obviously have been told that some drivers will be fuel safe and try and make this into a one-stop. Apparently the BMWs can do it. I've not heard whether or not any of the other cars can, so we'll keep an eye on that one and see how it all pans out. But Jake Burton slowly losing ground on our leader here, but not as quick as you would expect based on the qualifying time. So I wonder if Jared just got really good lapping, perhaps picked up some draft and got that huge advantage over everyone else because of that, using all the track and a little bit more Marcus Lenderman, leader of the GT class, just trying to stay in the tow as Jake Byrne goes very, very wide. Great to see all these Corvettes out there still running. Kurt Stenberg there. Andreas Martin looks like he's got himself past Dongwoo Gang. Dongwoo Gang coming under pressure from... Oh, sorry, that wasn't... Dongwoo Gang was always behind Martins, but he's coming under pressure from Charles into the bus stop corner. Charles having a little look. Perhaps thinks a little bit better of it this time, and actually has to be careful as Wang's there as well. Lazardri not too far behind them as well. Everybody, Constantine is through the bus stop chicane. Tobias just in the background as well, losing a little bit of ground. Having a little bit of a look further back. DK Lee got Steve Bouquet behind him, gets spun around by Maluna, I think that is. Yeah, Maluna spins Bouquet round. Championship leader in the Corvette class, not having a good day of it out there. Finds himself in 23rd place at the moment and struggling. Got quite a few points to play with. Well, I say that, it's actually about 34 points. Today's result is not going as according to plan. Marcus Wang is sat in 4th place, who sat P2 in the championship. So right now it's looking all good for Marcus. Just needs to make sure he maintains his position. He's got Kurt Stenberg actually closing in some 0.3 of a second that last lap, so he might have his hands full moving on for this race. Let's jump back to this GT3 battle though. We've got this is 3rd, 4th and 5th in class, and 6th as well with Lazardri there, but it looks like Kwang made his way past Dongwoo while we were too busy watching what was going on with Bouquet. It looks like Kwang got past Dongwoo Gang down the Kemmel Straight, and Charles having a look round the outside through the S's. Nothing happening there. And some funny kind of netcode-ish going on there. It looks like Charles all of a sudden got a whole load of damage on his front right. I can only think that's a little graphical glitch. I didn't see any contact made. Maybe that'll sort itself out next time they go across the line. Wu Young Kwan in his GoPro car there, sitting 15th overall, just a little bit behind Tim Jackson. I'm wondering if Tim is struggling with damage, but he's on the tail of Mark Noble. Mark Noble having a great run, 13th place. I don't want to curse him like we have done in the past. That car looks absolutely slammed to the deck as well, so not sure what he's been watching. Perhaps a bit of Pimp My Ride or something like that. He stuck some lowering springs on that, but loses the place to Tim Jackson through the bus stop chicane. Warren Pickering behind these two. Kwon having a little look up the inside. Mark, nice clean fair driver. He will battle as far as I think as the drivers coming alongside him, but tends to be very gentlemanly like once they get there. Loses another place to Warren Pickering there, so come on Mark, put your foot down mate. Let's keep some of these guys behind you. Little further back we've got Harrison O'Brien and his BMW closing in on Maluna. Maluna I think might have picked up a little bit of damage where he turned Bouquet. Bouquet still in 22nd place but recovering. Got a few drivers not showing at the moment on track. Dong Kwon Kim, Paul Nelson and Paijo not showing, so I'm not quite sure what's gone on there. Alex Cherney showing us 2 laps down, but he's in the pits again, so a bit of a disaster race from him all at the start there through Eau Rouge. Just check back up with our leaders. Jared still stretching his legs in his Corvette, certainly showing what these cars are capable of doing. Jake Burton as well, pretty quick out there. He's slowly pulling away from Marcus Lenderman, leader in the GT3 class. You have to say that Marcus is ever so fast, manages to wring the neck out of this GT3 to keep it up with these Corvettes. Kurt Stenberg, he is actually closing in on Marcus, but not a great deal of knots. He's got Marcus Wang behind him. So these guys look like they're set for a good battle. Actually, Kurt has got past Marcus, so a little mistake from Marcus that lap with a 2:17. Seems to be struggling out there as well. I'm not sure what's going on. Oh yeah, Jay Burton. Looks like he got himself all out of shape and he's got some serious damage there. I'm not sure he's going to be able to continue. Second place in class and overall as well. Let's see him through a Rouge. What kind of damage? Oh, that's the wall. Big time. That's a race-ending accident there for Jake Burton. Looks like that damage he picked up just, well, yeah, just couldn't recover in the end. Just pulls his car off out of the way. That's pretty much released Jared, I think. You can't see him coming under any kind of pressure now whatsoever. Happily pulling away. It's a great little battle though between Marcus Wang and Kurt Stenberg. We'll keep an eye on that, see how that progresses. Let's jump back. You've got Yong here closing in on Dongwoo Gang. He's struggling out there. Everybody's past him. Charles has gone past, Lazardu's gone past, Wang's gone past him. Is that a little bit of damage on his rear wing? Certainly is, so perhaps he's had a little bit of rear end contact that we might not have seen. But yeah, Chandra Yong and his Corvette, you have to think he's going to be making his way past fairly quick. Tobias not lapping as quick as he wants to. 2 minutes 19. Knowing Tobias, we've seen it before in previous races. We'll keep an eye on this, but that has to be a whole load of fuel saving going on there. He is not as slow as that. And you've got Tim Jackson lapping similar pace, and Tim's the same. I don't expect to see Tim sort of doing this sort of pace that far behind some of these leading guys, so I think he's going for a one stop as well. We've seen some of the McLarens be caught out in the past. I think today could be fairly similar. He's got Kwon behind him. Kwon's actually lapping a little bit slower. Warren Pickering as well. Bad lap that time by. I'm not sure what that was about, but yeah, bad lap. Or 120.6. So didn't see anything when we were watching those guys a little earlier on because they were all going past Mark Noble, weren't they? So yeah, very odd. I have to say this is probably the best battle on track at the moment between Dongwoo Gang and Tobias Cherney. Dongwoo, oh what a 2 minutes 21 last lap. That damage is just costing him way too much time. It's probably a little bit too early. We're only on to lap 6 now. Too early for him to pit. He's not going to make it yet. He's going to need to get it to the halfway point. Tobias just going to use that slipstream and work his way past down this back straight. Clean pass into Lecum. Dongwoo didn't really fight it. Don't think he's got the car out there to do that now. Very disappointing for him. Kwon still on the back of Jackson. He definitely wants past. Jacko's got to be saving fuel. Very unusual for him to be struggling out there as much as he is. Not too much going on at the front at the moment, so we'll stick with these little individual battles. We haven't lost anyone more apart from Jake Burton, which we saw that crazy crash at through Eau Rouge. All really stemmed from picking up that damage coming out of turn 1, putting it into the wall. Looks like Lazardri here starting to... Is he stunned? No, he's not starting to put the pressure. I think that's Yong has just got past actually in his Corvette, but Lazardri is under pressure from Charles Desir. Charles struggling. You know what? Charles is doing 219 as well, so I get the feeling he's fuel saving too. Whether he started to do it a bit late or not, I don't know. But definitely not keeping up with the McLarens at the moment, so perhaps these Macca drivers are just going at it, knowing that they're never going to make it, so no point in trying to save fuel for the pit stops. They're just going to stick the hammer down now and see how it all pans out at the end of the race. We should just see Young move himself past Wang there as well. Young is sat, where is he? 4th in class at the moment as well, so he's moving up quite nicely with Jake moving out. But next GT3 car up the road, just going through corner with no names, which is Andre Martins, overall 2nd in GT3 class. I tell you what, he's having a great few races this championship. Picked up a win, had some good strong finishes, and looks like he could be set for another podium finish here today. It's perhaps a bit early to say that, we're only on lap 7 of 25, but still good solid drive from him, showing that he's got great pace out there. The rest of the field just not really able to keep up. They're about 7 seconds behind now. Charles Desir and Lazardri still continuing their battle. Unfortunately, I've missed another overtake. Not doing too well today. Charles gets himself past Lazardri that lap. You just jump on board with Lazardri. Sit with him for a lap around this famous Spa circuit. Seems to be a little issue with my cameras with steering wheel not working, so apologies for that. Looks a little bit funny, but rest assured he is turning that wheel. But yeah, as we exit what is known as turn 1, the usual turn 1 here at Spa, getting a great run. Is he going to have a look going into Eau Rouge? He does. Look at the speed difference that McLaren has got over the BMW. Crazy straight line speed. Let's just switch back to Charles actually. Just see, he's coasting at all, trying to save fuel. We mentioned that he might be in the draft now. I wonder if he's using Lazardri. Doesn't seem to be lift coasting into the corner there. Get a whole face full of flames on the back of that McLaren. Look at the difference coming off the corner. Seems like Charles has definitely gone for a more aggressive downforce setup up the inside here. Takes a little bit of the curb, gets the car under control, gets that place back. I think these guys are in for a great battle. Lazardri now in, down to Pouan. The little lift, maybe touch a brake there, down some gears, runs it out wide, picks up an off track. Gotta be careful of those, can get yourself disqualified. Oh, and the steering wheel decided to kick in just a little bit now. Yeah, definitely something going on with the graphics of this one, but I have to say I do love the sound of the McLaren as well. Great car, but you can definitely see the pace advantage that Charles has through the infield section. Lazardri now able to open the legs, and this McLaren, you can see him reeling him back in. Crazy straight line speed advantage through Blanchimont. The little lift there, closes heavily under brakes, and we pretty much finish a lap. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting race between those two. Huge advantages in different areas of the track. Just have a little look further back. We've got Maluna and Quan having a good little battle here. Behind them we've got Bouquet recovering from that earlier spin that we saw. Kevin Huang behind him, followed by Warren Pickering. So this is all starting to heat up a little bit around there, and Quan goes massively wide there and loses a load of places to both Maluna and to Bouquet. I wonder if he's having some sort of connection issues. We just see him disappearing off the screen just a little bit there. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. We've got a driver coming out of the pits there as well. I'm not sure who that is. Is that Kurt Stenberg? I want to say it is. Yes, it was indeed. Yeah, Kurt Stenberg just coming out of the pits. First of the guys to jump into pit lane then. And we lose Kurt just for a moment. Seems to be struggling out there. Big time actually. Yeah, he's a lap down, so I'm not sure quite what's going on with Kurt, but that's another one of the Corvettes, I think, about to bite the dust, definitely struggling. Over to our GT3 class leader, Marcus Lenderman. This is doing his championship no harm whatsoever. About to turn on to lap number 10. He has got 19 seconds lead over next driver in his class, so that's in 9 laps. I mean, that is impressive. That's nearly 2 seconds a lap, so Martin's not really been challenged out there at the moment, although he is slowly being closed in by Yong. Good run by Yong actually. We don't normally, he has great pace and qualifies well, but we don't normally see him keep it on track, I have to say, or whether it's his fault or other drivers' fault, he always seems to get collected in something that ends his race really early. But good run so far. Let's just hope I have not cursed him once again. Still, Charles Thesera and Lazardri are battling out. I'm sure they exchange places once again that lap. Maluna, Jackson and Tobias all nip and tuck. These guys having a great little battle, allowing Tobias just to get on about his business. Down into the 2-minute 20s now. He's having to save a bit more fuel than perhaps he would like to out there now, as we're definitely struggling with connection out there today. Having a little look back, see if we can see any other battles starting to form up. Not really too much. It's really all about Lazardri and Thesera, and actually Lazardri managed to hold on to it again, but we'll see Charles coming back through this infield section. Bouquets into the pits as well. Kurt Stenberg back into the pits. Harrison O'Brien pit in as well. So he's a driver certainly not going to stop. Just having a quick look at my notes. From what I can say, if anyone makes it to lap 13, which is another 3 laps from now, then they're possibly on for a 1-stopper, so we'll keep an eye on that and see how it pans out. Quite a long pit lane here at Spa, so it does open up that strategy. With the fuel that these guys are going to have to take, I think they'll be looking in excess of 40 odd seconds, so I'm not sure that's going to be enough for some of them. I'm just looking now, I'm thinking maybe Charles is fuel saving behind Lazardri. This is why he's perhaps just keeps falling back and using the slipstream. I'm not so sure about that, but if that's the case, as Jared's into the pit, so our leader in class in, Marcus Lenderman also in, I believe. Yes, he is. And Andrea Martins takes the lead in the race. So he's still out there. So we're on lap 11 at this point. Jared on his way. No problem. He comes out just behind Tobias. So there you go. That just goes to show you how long these pits are. And actually look at him weaving down the straight already. Desperately trying to get some heat into the tyres, ready for Lacombe. Doesn't want to lose it already, but yeah, good driving from Jared so far in this race. Yeah, so Tobias was sat almost close on to a minute behind him before that pit stop. So yeah, perhaps the pit stops times is going to be just a little bit longer than we thought, and that really does play into those drivers doing a one stop. Let's have a look where Marcus Lenderman is in comparison to, say, Tobias. So we've got just going around corner with no name. Actually runs a little bit wide, gets out of shape. Just perhaps struggling with the new tyres and fuel load himself out there as well. That's we've seen Marcus make some mistakes like this in the past when he's not really under any kind of pressure, just pushing that little bit hard. Right, where is Tobias then? So we're going through the S's. Tobias now coming out of curve to Paul Frere, I believe that is, onto the back straight, coming into Boulogne-Chaumont. So he's got quite a gap. That's probably about 15 seconds to Lenderman. So Lenderman's got to catch it all up in this stint, but let's see if Tobias can make it. We're looking for lap 13. We're on to lap 12 now, so 2 more laps. Charles Desir stays out, Andre Martins in, Dongwoo Gang stays out as well. Having a little battle with Jared here, but the power of that Corvette, I'm sure, is just going to zoom straight past as it is, and we see Andre Martins in the pits. Of course, we're on the endurance layout. The guys are having to take the normal pit entry and then circulate all the way around here. Such a long stop. So this is why the one stopper is going to be favourable, and we've seen Tobias pull this off so much in the past. Pretty sure he's on for it. He's lapping down in the 21s at the moment, so he's saving so much fuel in order to try and get it. Lap times don't look all that impressive when you compare that to Lenderman's. He's 2 seconds a lap slower, but over 25 seconds, 25 laps, that's only 50 seconds, and we're looking at over a minute for a pit stop here. So you have to say, right now, he's in the driving seat of this race. Let's see, although Charles is still out there, but he's lapping some 2 seconds faster than Tobias, so I don't think he's going to do it. Let's keep an eye. Does he continue on for another lap after this time? Has he been fuel saving? Has he been coasting behind Lazardri all this time? Just while we're waiting, just want to give a quick shout out and thanks to all the sponsors. Mark Lang for putting on this great series, organising all the prizes. PitTalk Asia, the authority on Asian motorsport, for sponsoring the series. Couldn't do it without you guys. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. If you like the video, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe as well. Charles Desir continues on for another lap around here, so he might be on for it. I'm not sure. We'll see. Yeah, Dongwoo Gang still out there as well. Tobias Cherney still out there. These guys definitely going to try and do it. According to my data, they are now on to lap 13. So this is the golden target zone, so a lot of guys been just pacing themselves out there. Marcus Lindemann 5.5 seconds behind Tim Jackson. I said Jacko would be doing it as well. You can see him in the background of this shot. It's such a long pit lane, they have to do it. You know, if there was half a chance of them being able to make it. They've got such a huge window to play with. 2 seconds a lap is a crazy amount of time. Charles Cecilia loses the overall lead of the race. Last lap was a 1:22, so I'm pretty sure he's got a delta to hit to make sure he gets his fuel figures, and he's really had to back it off. And you can see him there actually lifting miles early into these corners now, so really starting to save the fuel. Let's just quickly jump on board with Charles. It doesn't even sound like he's giving it full throttle down this straight. I might be wrong, he might well be. Car definitely sounds very flat. Oh, he is saving way loads of fuel, and listen to how early he gets off of the gas as well. That is fuel saving, it's absolute max. Here he comes into the pits then. He's on target, I have to say, and I think he should be able to run a little bit more aggressive. Tobias Cherney in as well. Dongwoo Gang in as well. I think Dongwoo's run out of fuel. It's such a long pit lane entrance here. Tobias also looks like he's run out of fuel. Oh, that's not what he wants. Surely Dongwoo's going to be pushing him around here. Fortunately, it's downhill once they get around the corner. Oh, this has not worked out at all, I think, for Tobias. All these drivers, it's so slow down here though. What I'm actually imagining is probably happening is the guys will not be on the rev limiter. They will just be coasting down here. They're not losing a great deal of time. Obviously when they're on that rev limiter, they don't have to use a lot more fuel as well. Somebody who's not saving any fuel right now though, Marcus Wang. Second in class, he's got 7.4 second gap over Chan Riyong behind him, so pretty much out there on his own, and we're really struggling with connection today. Marcus Lindemann in second and first overall. Let's see how far he's going to come out ahead once these guys all exit the pit. Andrea Martins is going to come out in front. Yeah, he is in front of Charles Desir. Charles out as well. Charles, where's Tobias? He lost. He's just exiting the pits now. That seems rather long stop. Unfortunately, the timing did not work on that one. But he's 3.5 seconds behind Dongwoo Gang. Actually, that's not a massive stop, I suppose. Dongwoo Gang behind Kwon, but we know these guys have got a pit again. So this is going to be interesting to see how this one pans out. Everybody pretty much separated apart now. I say that apart from this little grouping. They're tucked in behind Charles. So Charles has done a great job saving fuel but keeping the pace up. But all the McLarens here fighting, so they must have had individually very different stops, because that we know that Maluna was a little bit further behind. Just thinking, have we lost Andrea Martins? Where is he? I'm not seeing him on track right now. Something must be going on. He's out there, I'm sure of it. So Yeah, we'll keep a little eye on that, see what's going on, see if we can find out what's going on with Martins, but doing him way down in 21st place at the moment, I'm sure that's not right. It's got to be just a timing glitch. Steve Bucade into the pits. Pretty sure this will be the second pit stop of the day for Steve, so that's very, very early. Sure, the Corvettes did not need to 3-stop. Dongwoo Gang onto the back of Harrison O'Brien. Harrison, we know, pitted quite a bit earlier than Dongwoo Gang, so no fuel saving going on there. So while they're fighting on track, certainly the strategies are miles apart at the moment, some 50-60 seconds. Dongwoo looks good. Doesn't look like he needs to save as much fuel as perhaps he did, and I wonder if this is why he wasn't losing all that ground in the early stint. Right, just having a little look further back just to see Brett Wilson, Tim Jackson. Seems to be having a fight. Oh, Jacko makes a little mistake coming out the corner with no name. He's going to lose the place. Not what he wanted. It's important to be nice and smooth and flowing for Jacko if he's going to make this strategy work. He pitted in at the same time as the rest of the group, Dongwoo Gang, Tobias and co. Just having a little look back at some other drivers. Bernie Weemers, Redback Racing, turning 21st. Tim Ballinger showing as 19th right now, but I think it's actually 20th with just DK Lee's just flashing in and out like a crazy one. Harrison O'Brien still behind Kwon, got Dongwoo Gang behind him. Dongwoo still having to save enough fuel that he can't really have a go. Yeah, Lenderman's at 25 seconds behind our leader now, cruising. I have to think, even with the pit stop strategy, the one extra stop needed, he almost made up a whole stop that first time, so I think if my maths is right, he's still going to be able to come out in the lead of this race. It might be close, he might have to do a bit of overtaking, but I think he can actually this stint now, because he's a bit lighter, so he'll really be pushing the times compared to those guys, that he should come out ahead of them. I think his pace is just too quick. Last time by 2:16.8. You compare that with probably the first of the... no, we can't yet. We're just waiting for Charles to come across the start-finish line. We should then be able to see what sort of lap time they're doing now in this second stint. But I'd say if it's anything above a 2 minutes 18.8, then really they've got no chance of beating Lenderman today. This second stint has to be quicker than the first for them to make it work. They've got one lap less to do. Whether or not that's going to give them an extra half a second to 3/4 of a second a lap in time, I'm not sure. Let's see as he crosses the line. 2 minutes 20.1. That's 3.3 seconds. That is nowhere near enough. So I think it's going to be a fight between. Well, say that. I think these one stoppers could have the chance of jumping people like Martins. Quan they're already ahead of. I'm not sure quite what happened with him because he was ahead of them. But yeah, certainly should be able to get Martins, I think. I think some of the other McLaren drivers as well, didn't we have Lazardri and Hung? Didn't they go for a 2-stop blast at the start as well? Yeah, all those McLarens were together. And I think you got Harrison O'Brien as well on a 2-stop as well. So it's looking like Martins, Lazardri, Hung, O'Brien, all in danger from these potential one-stoppers to jump them. Driver that's not had a great deal of airtime so far is Jared Vissel, coming in on what is lap number, starting lap number 19. So he's for sure going to make the end of the race, pitting in at this point. Good clean drive from him so far, although it does look like he's got a bit of damage on the front end of that Corvette. Not really sure what would cause a bit of damage right by the windscreen there. Gets it repaired and gets on his way. Right, Hung on Thesir here, having a little look. Kevin want to get past, he needs to really quickly. Oh, Charles gets a little bit loose coming off of the bus stop. I say he needs to, Kevin, but I just don't think he's got a prayer at this point. They've got about 8 laps to try and gain 50 seconds, as they've got another pit stop to have. It's just not really worked out for them at all. Not much else going on. Oh, Kevin, massive crash. Let me take a quick look at the that again. It's actually just looking at the timing screen as well at the time, so yeah, let's just take quick look at this. See what happened. Very Rouge just gets himself all out of shape. Oh, you can see how desperate he is to try and save that. That is Will action. I mean, he drives off there, so somehow he hasn't completely totaled the car. I really don't know, but I think that's going to be considerably slower. Wang on the back of Jackson here. Wang not one stopping, opting for a 2-stop. Hasn't had that second stop as of yet, so not really that much pressure. Brett Wilson, I'm not 100% sure on the strategy. Didn't see when he pitted in. Just checking in with Mark Noble. Good. Well, I was checking in with Mark Noble. He's still out there. Like I say, it's just this little connection glitch that we're seeing at the moment. But still running close to the top 15. Marcus Lenderman still out there. He's not going to need to pit yet, but will need to pit shortly, I think. Two Maccas having a fight here. Kevin with that little bit of damage picked up. I'm sure he's going to be able to fight too hard. Lazardri holding on through Blanchimont into the bus stop. They've got a very fast approaching Huang behind them. Kevin into the pits. Second pit stop for the McLaren's going to be due. I have to say, I think they're all going to come in as well. Driver that's hoping to make it all the way to the end is on screen. That's Charles Tussier. That certainly won't help his championship. Sorry, it won't harm his championship. It's not going to help it much either, really, because he needs to beat Marcus out there. And I have to say, the young driver is in a league of his own at the moment. So quick, really showing everybody how to race. We're just keeping an eye on this battle between Thussier and actually no, that's not a battle, that's a back marker. I was thinking it was Marcus Huang there for a moment, but it's not. Marcus is just coming out of corner no name now, the head of Lazardri there. Marcus still out there. We're approaching lap number 20 now, but I know for a fact he's going to have to stop. Yeah, he just came in way too early to make anything work. Still this little battle between Huang and Jackson continues to rage on. 1 second separating them at the moment. Just seems like Huang here, he seems to be able to close in. Oh, who's that off? Oh, I got a feeling that is my co-commentator, one Mr. Brendan O'Brien, off into the dirt. Sorry, Brenton, no driver of the day for you today, my friend. Well, I'm not entirely sure who's going to get it. I think it's all we're going to have to wait till everything pans out. We're approaching we're on lap number 20 now. We've got 5 to go here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. I will get that out eventually. Endurance layout for the PitTalkAsia.com GT Simulator series. Jared Fissel leading the GT1 Corvette class, followed by Chandra Jong. Marcus Lindemann leading the GT3 class with Charles Tussier in second. So Charles going to lose a little bit more ground on Marcus. Obviously there is rounds and drops to cake in consideration as well, so Charles certainly has a 0 point with the non-attendance of the last race. Marcus has had a great start. Let's see though, I think this is going to put him over 40, maybe over 50 points ahead already at this stage of the season. It's like Tobias Journey closing in on the back of Dongwoo Gang again. This is pretty much what we saw at the end of the first stint as well. So we've got quite some time to go before these guys are on fumes. But Tobias obviously convinced that he knows where his fuel figures are and can push it just a little bit harder than he has been. Just getting some information actually that Tobias is suffering some graphical issues out there as well. and even had to resort to alt-tabbing out of the sim and back in again to try and sort those during the pit stop. So yeah, definitely not real racing. We're not trying to say that it is out there. This is definitely the best of sim racing out there, and these little glitches can happen, but I think he's back on the straight and narrow. Haven't heard anything since then, so hopefully that little trick worked, and he's continuing to race. Definitely seems a little bit racy. That might also explain why he lost so much time in the pits as well, trying to get those little issues sorted out. Closing in on Dongwoo Gang again. We've seen him make a move already. Doesn't look like he's coming past this time, is he? No, just shows his nose, but that's about all. Marcus Lenderman, has he had his second stop? Where is he? I believe Marcus has had his second stop. He's just going through the S's now. Jared, yeah, he has. Just looking at where he is compared to Jared, just Jared has also stopped twice as well. Charles Desir then, so he's about 10 seconds behind Lenderman here. It's close, but not quite worked. He was perhaps having a bit too much of a fight out there, but in recent laps he's been lapping some 3 seconds a lap slower, so that hasn't helped him at all. He needed to keep that under 2 seconds to make it work. But Marcus Wang going to have to deal with Charles Desir once again. Let's jump back to the battle with Dongwoo Gang and Tobias Cherney. Those two are closest on track at the moment. And is that Andre Martins ahead of them? I think it might be. What's going on with Martins? He is struggling out there. Oh god, he's run out of fuel. Disaster. It's such a long way to go in this pit as well. It's not what he wanted. He's pushed it too far. Oh, he's going around again. What's he doing? Oh, I really have no idea what he's doing. Perhaps he's going to take a pit stop penalty by coming into the pits on the second part of it. No, he's not. Well, I've got no idea what's going on there. He was absolutely crawling along there, and now it looks like he's got fuel, but losing an absolute boatload of time to the drivers ahead of him. That's 6 seconds. That's very strange. I think Tobias is playing a patient game here. He perhaps knows both these guys are saving fuel, and they need to make the stint work. Perhaps not as much as they did the first one. They made it to that important lap 13, which is over halfway point. But he knows that the longer he stays here in the draft, he can save more fuel, and then those last few laps he could, yeah, definitely lifting out of it. He can whack that mix up to perhaps mix one and really give it some large to get past Dongwoo here. Well, there's a little look around the outside. Is he going to do that? That's a brave move around there. Not easy to pull off. And Dongwoo just holds on the inside there. And Martin's still struggling out there. I can only assume Martins is trying to save fuel to make it to the end of the race, but I mean the last lap was 2 minutes 30. You just when you're losing 20 seconds, 10 seconds a lap, there's no point. In 4 laps time you would have got your pit stop in, so, or five laps time I suppose, so maybe he just left it a bit late. But surely this time he's got to come in. He's fallen down now behind Tim Jackson. Nope, continues on out there. He's going to push it all the way to the end. It's not going to work for him. He's going to lose an absolute load of places. But yeah, I've been in the same sort of shoes before, thinking you've got to save fuel, and in the end, you just have to realise really early that to save any kind of amount of fuel, you're going to just lose way too much time, and it's just easier to box. For fuel saving, you've got to do it from lap 1 of the race just to make it happen. Tobias round the outside, going into Lacombe. Dongwoo tries to hold on to it but can't, sees this way to cut back but also can't, so Tobias up to 3rd in class. Struggled a little bit in qualifying, but has definitely made it pay. Different strategy in the race. Got himself, like I say, onto the podium. Take a quick look at our race leader as we're approaching. No, he's on lap 23 now, so this one and 2 others to go. Give you a quick rundown of the order, as we haven't got the ticker working today, unfortunately, with the replays. We're having more connection issues out there. Let's jump back to our GT3 Championship. Leader and class leader today also having connection problems. I think it's just us. So Joe Thistle leads for the GT1 Corvette class. He's got 36-second lead over Marcus Lenderman, who's in 2nd overall, but 1st in class. Then we have Marcus Wang, some 15 seconds back from the young Lenderman, 2nd in class. Charles is 2nd in class as well, 11 seconds behind Huang. So Tobias Cherney 11 seconds behind Charles Desir. So I tell you what, Charles has done a great job with the fuel saving here this time. He knew it was possible, seen it done in the past, must have been practicing that all week, I dare say. Dongwoo Gang is 4th in class and 6th overall. Seems to be struggling a little bit out there, really starting to lose time now on Tobias, so perhaps having to save a bit too much fuel. Chandra Young, he's going to close in on Dongwoo Gang, but that's not for position because they're in different class. But Steve Bouquet, we haven't seen much of Steve. We commented on him a little bit earlier on saying he was up into 14th place. He sat in P8, just 2.2 seconds behind Young. Last time by, they lacked actually very similar pace. So nothing might come of this, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but we've got just 3 laps to go, including this one. 9th place is Tim Jackson, another of the fuel savers. Andre Martin's absolutely miles behind, 24 seconds, a 2:30 lap that time as well. You can see how much he's saving fuel as he disappears off screen again. It's just not going to work for him. He's just falling back further and further and further. Definitely should have taken the pit stop and gone full attack while he still could. To see Tim Ballinger about 1.2 seconds ahead, behind Blizzardry. So Ballinger hasn't had a second stop as far as I can tell as well. Yeah, the feeling it's going to be quite close in the pits, at the end of this race with fueling. Everybody trying to cut it as fine as possible. Those that 2 stopped, those that have gone all the way with the 1 stop, they're going to be saving fuel rotten in this last part of this race. We really haven't got any individual battles going on out there now, so everybody's just circulating, trying to bring it home. Jared here on lap 24, now 36 seconds ahead. I believe that is of, yes it is of Marcus Lindemann, so that live timing seems to fluctuate a little bit when there's such a huge gap, as it's all predictive. Yong here on Dongwoo Gang, not for position, perhaps just a little bit of pride for each driver as it's a different class. And here we are with just one lap to go, and Dongwoo Gang still holding on ahead of some of these Corvettes. He's lost 5 seconds to Tobias now though, so really not had the pace in this second stint. Tobias done a great job early on, being able to run the higher mixture in the second part of this race, and I dare say a lot of that slipstreaming as well helped just ensure that he could run a higher mix. And actually down into the 2:17, so he's the second. In fact, that last time by he lapped quicker than Marcus Lindemann, so he had pace here today. Sorry, we've just missed the leaders coming across the line there as well. Marcus Lindemann coming across, overall GT3 class winner. Jared as well, he's pulled up, but takes victory and gets a little love tap from Marcus Wang there. Charles Desir coming across, or sorry, around the bus stop now. It's got Mark Noble ahead of him. Second place in class, he'll be delighted with that, I'm sure. Perhaps, oh, a little bit of post-race stuff kicking off there. Tobias Cherney picks up the final podium position. Dongwoo Gang holds off to finish 4th place in class, so can't quite see how that's affected the championship standings as of right now, but might just shake it up. Let's have a quick look, see if I can have a look at them again. So Tobias was already ahead of Dongwoo Gang, so nothing going on there. Charles was already ahead of Tobias, so if anything they've just separated. Warren Pickering nowhere to be seen, down in 25th place I believe today. Let's double check that. Not 100% sure on that. 28th place, I'm sorry. So yeah, he must have had something go off. Steve Bocade recovered to 7th place, so he'll be pretty delighted with that. Let's take a look at the final standings. Oh, they're all out of whack here. I will just read them off of the official timings. So Jared Fissel takes victory here in the PitTalk GT Simulator Series, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. That victory was by 34.9 seconds over Marcus Lindemann, so our GT3 class leader. And then we have Marcus Lindemann, Marcus Huang, 48 seconds behind Jared. So absolutely smashed it today. But Marcus Huang in second does make quite a big difference to the championship standings. Just trying to work it out in my head very quick. Steve Bouquet actually ended up with 3rd place. Just not going to make a great deal of difference at all. There's just 3 points difference between them. But hey, I suppose 3 points closes that gap down, and instead of it being instead of it being 30 points, 34 points, it's slightly less now. Right. A lot of noise coming on from outside, just a bit distracting, so apologies for that. Right, just having a look further back, where are we? Sorry, yeah, completely distracted by that. So, Charles Desir obviously come across in 4th place. 5th place was Tobias Cherney, 1 minute 12 behind our overall victor here today. Dongwoo Gang, Steve Bouquet, Tim Jackson. So I have to say the one stops pretty much got it nailed. If you could do it, those that didn't quite have the pace that tried to do the two stop, Lazardri next in 9th. Tim Ballinger, I think he had a couple of stops as well. Andreas Martin, he only did a one stop, but that crazy fuel saving at the end just put pay to his race. Chandra Yong, Harrison O'Brien, Kevin Huang, Wu Yun Kwan, Brett Wilson, they all two stopped and lost out. Alex Cherney managed to recover back to 17th with his one stop, but technically a two because he had to pit on lap 1. 18th place is Young Suk Kwang, Bernie Weemers in 19th, DK Lee in 20th. Um, 21st is Mark Noble, Mim Park, Adrian Jarvis in 23rd. Scott Goodman, Christopher Beaufay, Brenton O'Brien, Maluna way down there, must have had an accident that we didn't see. Warren Pickering, Kurt Stenberg, Jake Burton, Paul Nielsen, I don't believe took to the start. No, he didn't. Neither did Pai Jo Kim as well. So right, that pretty much wraps us up. Obviously, post-race broadcast today, so I've got no interviews, but Jared totally dominant. Have to give him driver of the day. New driver to, well, not new driver to the series. He has been in here before in the GT3 class and was victorious that day as well. But showing that he's got some great pace in that Corvette. But Marcus Lenderman extends the lead in the GT3 class. And Steve Bouquet holds on to the championship lead in the GT1s as well. Those guys are in the driving seat for the prizes at the end of this season, which, if you don't know, first time you're tuning in and you've stuck with this broadcast and listened to my dulcet tones all the way through it, I applaud you for that, for one. But they also get to test drive at Caterham in at Sepang as well in Malaysia. So what a great prize that is. I'm not 100% confirmed on whether it's one for each, so I might have just added in another prize there for Mark to deal with. Apologies if that's the case. I'm sure he can correct me if I'm wrong on the forum or on the Sim Racers Asia website. Right, thank you very much for tuning in and watching this. Alex Simpson here for Apex Racing TV. This has been the PitTalkAsia.com GT Simulator series from Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. We will see you next week live for that one with myself and Brenton O'Brien at Montreal in Canada. So from the massive open track that is Spa to the tight wall confined circuits of chicanes and all sorts, but great overtaking opportunity nonetheless of Montreal. So it's going to be a great race. So that'll be on air live at it's 12:40 GMT, 1:40 UK time. I'm sorry, I don't know the rest of the other times. But yeah, so 12:40 GMT. Set your clock by that. Tune in for that. It's going to be a great race. I don't think we'll see the fuel savings, so everybody's just going to be going at it. But thanks for tuning in once again. Alex Simpson from Spa-Francorchamps, PitTalkAsia.com GT Simulator series. We'll see you next week. Farewell from me.